public trails.
Through you, Mr. President, the sponsor would continue to yield.
Will the sponsor yield for a
Yes.
question? The
Thank
sponsor
you.
will yield. Senator Kruger.
So if this law passed, they would be allowed to have races on private property under some kind of regulations provided by Parks and Recreation?
Yes,
Senator
in
Little?
response, some of these races take place at actual ski areas, which are privately owned, but they conduct snowmobile races on a course at the ski area, and they're, the children or people under the age of 18 with their snowmobile, they don't get there by themselves. They are accompanied by parents, they have coaches, they are trained in racing. The races are conducted with a lot of supervision and direction. And as I said, they must have a permit from Parks and Recreation, so they know when they're taking place, where they're taking place, and what conditions and rules they must operate under are actually put in by the Office of Parks and Recreation.
Senator Kruger.
Through you, Mr. President, the sponsor, would you continue to
Will
yield?
the sponsor continue to yield?
Yes, I will.
Senator Kruger.
So, my understanding is this bill would allow these kinds of races to take place on private property, implying that current law doesn't allow them to take place, at least for those under 18. Is that correct?
Senator Little.
I don't think there was any restriction before that they couldn't be on private property, because many of these race courses might be set up on someone's farmland, on a ski area, on snowmobile areas where people are doing a lot of snowmobiling. The restriction is that they cannot be done on a private public trail that is open to the public. My son was a ski racer, and they would ski race at the ski mountains, but those trails would be closed off to the public where they were racing. So you cannot have the idea is for safety. The racing organizations also have to have insurance. The children and the young people are trained, and they do everything they can to make these safe. They're held in many other states, particularly in the North Country when we have a lot of snow. But this would allow them to be held in New York State.
Senator Kruger.
Through you, Mr. President, the sponsor would continue to
Will the
yield.
sponsor continue to yield?
Yes.
Senator
Thank you.
Kruger.
And so in this bill, racing could be done by children below the age of 18 with no minimum level of age to participate in these these snowmobile races and competitions. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. President, yes, that is correct.
Okay. Through you, Mr. President, the sponsor will continue to yield.
Sponsor continue to yield.
Yes, I will.
Senator
yield.
Kruger.
Thank you. On the weekend of January 23rd and 24th in Plattsburgh, multiple heats were held in the East Coast Snowcross event that featured junior competitors as young as the age of 8 years old riding 600cc snowmobiles. Could the sponsor please tell me what a 600cc snowmobile weighs and how fast it can go?
Senator Little.
No, I probably couldn't tell you exactly my mechanical abilities and my finger, and that's about all I have. But what they are racing, an 8-year-old would be racing a much smaller snowmobile. Snowmobiles come in different sizes, and there are children's snowmobiles. And believe me, an 8-year-old is not there by themselves. Their parents took them and have trained them, and they're wearing all the equipment and helmets that they need to have. And I'm sure the race is not one big, gigantic, long race.
Through you, Mr. President, if I might answer the question, and I didn't know whether the sponsor would know the answer.
Are you asking for the sponsor to continue to yield for a question?
No, I'm actually first
You're on the bill?
I'm on the bill. I'll go back to questions. Thank you, Mr. President. So, for the record, a 600cc snowmobile, which is being used in New York State for 8-year-olds in racing competition, weighs over 450 pounds and can reach a maximum speed of 90 miles per hour. 600cc snowmobiles have upwards of 130 horsepower, which is equivalent to a Toyota Corolla, more powerful than a base model Ford Focus. And these kinds of vehicles are actually being used with 8-year-olds riding them in competitions in snowmobiles in our state today. If the sponsor would continue to yield.
Will the sponsor continue to yield?
Yes, I will continue to yield.
Senator Kruger.
Thank you. The sponsor referenced that there are procedures for young people to participate in these activities. Has the sponsor by chance looked at the liability release being used by one of the larger of these companies running snowmobile races, East Coast Snowcross?
Senator Little.
No, I haven't.
Has the sponsor taken a look at the insurance coverage that is offered for young people participating in these snowmobile races by companies such as Snowcross, Snowmageddon, Snowmobile Challenge, the International Snowmobile Racing, Inc., etc.?
Senator Little.
Thank you. No one is required to participate in these races. People do so willingly. They have all the equipment. They have all the training. There are restrictions, and all of that is going to be put on them by the State Office of Parks and Recreation. I hardly believe that an 8-year-old on a snowmobile is going to be going 90 miles an hour. I have actually been snowmobiling. I know that many of them go fast, but many of the snowmobile trails, they have speed restrictions and all of that. So this is something, and I'm not even sure how many 8-year-olds actually participate in these snowmobile races, but many of them are very short races and just a family activity when they have snowmobiles, and they do a lot of snowmobiling. People like to go to these races, and they bring a lot of people to attend the races, and are really considered a winter sport that many people participate in and choose to participate in.
Through you,
Senator
Mr.
Kruger.
President, the sponsor will continue to yield.
Will the sponsor continue to yield?
Yes.
Senator Kruger.
And under the sponsor's bill, would children be allowed to participate in the kinds of snowmobile races where they were going straight up a hill? I forgot the name of that. Perhaps the sponsor knows. Do you remember?
Senator Little.
I saw it. I think they're called steep hill races. But
Oh, and hill climb, Mr. President.
it's
Would
a hill
children
climb.
be
I'm
allowed?
sorry. It's a hill climb
Yes.
race.
Senator
I'm
Little.
not sure.
Senator Little.
I'm not sure if they would have that kind of thing, but these are not dangerous, as you might think. People are trained, and these children and young people have snowmobiled a great deal before they're in these races. So they're not, they're families that have actually spent a lot of money on snowmobiles, have driven and gone to places where they have these snowmobile races, participate as a family. They're not going to put their children in danger to do this.
Through you, Mr. President, on the bill.
Senator Kruger on the bill.
So, while this bill would expand the legal activity of snowmobile racing with children, in fact, when we went and looked through, there's an enormous number of these activities taking place throughout our state now, with, again, children as young as 8 participating in races where they're going straight up hills where the snowmobile can fall over on them and do enormous damage. The driver's packet that parents are asked to sign before their children participate. I guess somebody decided it was legal at some point in time. I just want to highlight to people why I'm so concerned about our expanding and endorsing and supporting this sport for children of any age. All over the release in the red ink are highlighted that this is a very risky sport. Minors are assuming the risk and releasing and waiver of liability. This sport can cause death. This sport can cause enormous personal harm. The many pages that a parent would have to sign all are releasing the company from any liability or responsibility. Minors' assumption of risk and release, waiver liability, parental consent, waiver of liability, assumption of risk and indemnity. You cannot sue if anything happens. Activities at the event are very dangerous and involve risks and dangers to your well-being, which can seriously injure or hurt. You may be paralyzed or killed. And so one argument is, well, the parent sees all this and they decide they're going to sign it because they love snowmobiling, or perhaps their small children love snowmobiling. And then we learn that the insurance is incredibly minimal and not clear if and when and how it would be paid. I'm not even clear that this insurance package being referenced by the International Snowmobile Racing Incorporated is actually a recognized insurance policy in the state of New York, because what's legal, perhaps if this ever becomes law, doesn't seem to be changing the fact that they're doing all this already on private grounds and, as the senator pointed out, on racetracks. These vehicles go up to 90 miles an hour. They're stronger and more powerful than small cars. They can weigh up to 900 pounds. These are very dangerous vehicles when raced, and that's the activity that this bill will expand the ability for children of any age to participate on. The American Pediatric Association, and actually the Canadian Pediatric and Child Health Organization, because apparently snowmobiling is incredibly popular in Canada, which seems obvious because I think they even get more snow than we do here. They both recognize that snowmobiling injuries can be greater and more serious than injuries from almost any other activity or sport that children may participate in. The American Academy of Pediatrics specifically recommends that persons younger than 16-year-olds should not be the drivers of snowmobiles, and they highlight particularly the dangers from racing situations. The fact that these are private companies who clearly are doing this to make money for themselves while making sure they hold none of the liability for anything that happens to the children who are participating on their race courses is exceptionally disturbing to me. I am going to vote against this bill. I suspect, as in the past, many of you will vote for it. I certainly hope, as parents, you will think through ever allowing your own children to participate in activities that make you sign off on 10 different pages, warning, warning, this could kill your child, and we have no liability when that happens. But I frankly think the state of New York would be wiser if it were to increase the rules, regulations, and limitations on what kinds of competitive sporting activities children were allowed to participate on when sitting on and driving vehicles which, if it had wheels instead of skis on the bottom, we wouldn't let them get behind the wheel until they had a driver's license and were at least 17 years old. So it's not for lack of empathy with snowmobiles, which I'm sure can be wonderful and fun, and not for lack of respect for adults who want to compete in the kinds of sports that can be actually quite dangerous. We held up the waivers comparing it to race car driving, which is also recognized to be an extremely dangerous sport. And also, many, many waivers must be signed before a race car driver gets behind the wheel of that car. But again, race car driving is for adults, and I actually think race snowmobiling also should be for adults. So I'm urging my colleagues to vote no from a child safety perspective. This is extremely dangerous. Bad things can and do happen. The news clips are filled with stories of children being hurt and killed in these kinds of incidents. And I just don't think New York State should want to expand on those stories in the future. I vote no, Mr. President. Thank you.
Secretary will ring the bell. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Senator DeFrancisco to explain his vote.
Yes, moments ago we honored a group of high school basketball players for winning a state championship, many of whom no doubt are under 18 years of age, and many of whom probably sometime in their life got hurt playing sports. But playing sports before you're 18 years of age, you get the opportunity to get better, and you get the opportunity to win state championships. Senator Little in her district has a state championship for all levels of high school basketball. Guess what? People sometimes get hurt under 18 years of age. I think they get hurt more if they're deprived of the opportunity to participate in the sport they like. We have a state now that feels necessary more and more to be the nanny for everybody in this community. Parents should take that responsibility. If they don't think the child should participate in this activity, they should tell the child and stop the child from doing so. But this type of idea that kids can't participate, why don't we go to football next? I imagine maybe some people would think that's a good idea. They shouldn't play football until they're too old that they can't learn it to go any further in that sport. So I think this is a good bill. It also helps our state participate in the financial benefits of tourism from other people in other states that don't have laws that prohibit it. So I think on both counts it's a very good bill, and I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator DeFrancisco to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the result.
Relation to calendar 232, those recorded in the negative are Senators Avella, Comrie, Espaillat, Hassel-Thompson, Hoylman, Kruger, Montgomery, Perkins, Persaud, Rivera, Serrano, and Stavisky. Ayes 48, nays 12.
Bill is passed. Senator DeFrancisco, that completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business before the desk.
I therefore move to adjourn until Wednesday, March 30th. It's March 30th at 11 a.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Wednesday, March 30th at 11 a.m.